guys, 2025 has been an absolutely amazing year for adventure games. It's been an absolutely amazing year for Adventure Game Hotspot. Rosewater, Old Skies, The Drifter, Elroy, Blueprints, Foolish Mortals, Keeper, Slender Threads, Kathy Rain 2, etc., etc. Keep it up, guys, and we will do the same. Help us help the adventure game community. Tell your friends, share our website, share our videos. Give us an encouraging word. If you see a review or an article that you guys like, reach out to that author and tell them, hey, thank you, because it means a lot for us and it motivates us to continue. We thank you so much. We thank you for an incredible 2025. I am Joshua on behalf of all of the Adventure Game Hotspot. We love you, and we'll see you in 2026.
Hey everybody, it's Ron with Ron's Computer Videos. I want to thank you for spending time with us here today. Got a great interview. Let's get right into it. I'm here joined today by the founding members of Adventure Game Hotspot, Mr. Joshua Cleveland and Jack Allin. How are you guys today?
Getting better by the minute. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, I'm great. Just holding on because we're in the middle of a freezing rainstorm. So let's hope I'm with you through the rest of the show.
Well, I will be thinking warm thoughts the entire time.
Well, don't send too warm.
How are you?
You know, it might turn to rain. We've got heavy rainfall. It's just a mess over here. So.
I'm not wanting to start one of those heat miser, cold miser situations at your house. So I will try to be the Switzerland of the year without a Santa Claus, I guess.
Sounds good. And now I'm going to have the heat miser, snow miser song going through my head the rest of the show. So.
Ron, you and I are kind of in the same location. How's the weather over at where you're at? Are you all?
Yeah, it's
like we are.
According to my watch, it is 69 degrees outside.
What?
Which is quite warm for December when we're recording this. So
we have freezing rain coming tonight, by the way. And so
yeah, it's supposed to cool off next week. We're supposed to have more December-ish weather starting just in time for it to be January.
Starting in January.
Yeah. Gosh. So, but Adventure Game Hotspot. So for folks that are not familiar or kind of new to the adventure gaming genre, what exactly is a hotspot?
Wow. Yeah.
I know it's a silly question. I mean, I know the answer. I just want to make sure that you guys know the answer.
Jack's the guru. Jack has been doing legendary adventure game journalist for 20 some odd years. Jack, why don't you throw that out there?
Well, yeah, it's kind of funny you should ask that question because we're going to talk about sort of how we founded Adventure Game Hotspot a little later, but I was still on the fence about whether to do it. And then suddenly like the heavens opened and sort of Adventure Hotspot came to me and I just went, and it was like so good. I went, I have to create a site just so I can use this name. But yeah, in a game, a hotspot is just something interactive that you click when something happens. And that's this hotspot is where everything happens. And so that's kind of what I want the website to be, is the place where sort of everything happens. All the news, all the interviews, all the reviews, you know, community gatherings, stuff like that. So, and of course, that's sort of the double meaning of hotspot too, which is, you know, the place to be, the place to go. So yeah, it sort of encapsulated everything I wanted the site to be.
Yeah, that's what I knew that it meant too. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, it's interesting though. Like I sort of assume that kind of everyone knows what a hotspot is, and like an adventure gamer knows exactly what it is. But like it almost doesn't occur to me that other people not sort of within the community go, well, what is this hotspot business? Is that like, is it a nightclub or what are you guys? You know,
is there a cooling cream you can put on it? I don't know.
We are just the happening place to be. Yes, it is a nightclub in the day. And
yeah, lots of day drinking and oh no, sorry, I didn't say that. No,
that's, you know, only on Sunday. Wait, what
responsible amount of
let's
day
go.
drinking.
Exactly, yeah. Like the French and their one glass of wine a day kind of thing.
Yes,
so,
you know. Well, let me ask you this. You guys have been working together for many years, but what got both of you interested in computer games? Or I'm sorry, more specifically, adventure gaming.
I'll take this one first. So, gaming in general, my parents brought home a. Let's talk about adventure games specifically. First game that I ever played, though, however, was TNC Surf on Nintendo.
Oh,
Retro.
sorry.
Yeah, I know. But my dad ended up bringing home a computer, a used computer that he bought in a California newspaper called The Recycler. He brought it home, put it in my room when I was like 10 or 11, and he said, break it, because this is what's going to be, this is the future. This is, you know, and by God, I broke it like a lot. And so gaming is what if you have a computer and you're 10 or 11 years old, that's what it was. And all of the people, namely my uncle that I knew that had computer games that I can borrow, we'll call it, had adventure games subsequently. So I had the Indiana Jones, Fate of Atlantis, and those were kind of like the original games that I was able to get working, Dr. Brain and that kind of stuff. However, the first adventure game that I played was when I first CD-ROM played. That was King's Quest V by a company called Sierra Online. So that was basically my initiation to really video gaming. That was my first love in video gaming, was adventure games.
Whereas my eighth love was adventure games. It's true. Okay, first of all, I'm going to tell you something you would never guess just from looking at me. I'm pretty old, so
it happens to us all.
I predate video games, so I did not grow up with video games. I was in high school when I'm first falling in love with Tron and Pac-Man and stuff in the arcades, never mind at home. And I was like an adult living on my own when I bought my first Nintendo system. So that just kind of sets the stage. So I kind of grew up loving the platformers and the RPGs of Nintendo. And, you know, I didn't even know adventure games were a thing. I sort of played one week, a text game in high school, and I absolutely loved it, but sort of fell away from it and didn't return to it, you know, for many years. And I missed the genre's sort of so-called golden era entirely. It wasn't till the late 90s when I got my own first computer, almost or it was not the late 90s. It was sort of 97-ish or something. Anyway, but I fell in love with Age of Empires. So, and that kind of got me, I love the computer as a gaming thing. And eventually, I don't know, I just sort of found my way to, you know, as I'm exploring this whole new world of gaming, I eventually found my way to adventure games. And I think because it was such a huge seller, I tried Myst fairly early on and was immediately stuck 3 minutes in. And so if this is what adventure games are, this is not for me, but
I'm sorry, Jack.
No, but I quickly pivoted to LucasArts, and well, I mean, the rest is, you know, you can't play a LucasArts game and not love adventure games. So that was kind of my in, and it's been, you know, full steam ahead ever since.
That's great. I kind of, as a young person, a lot of I got introduced to the Infocom titles, and then later a lot of LucasArts games and Sierra's early games and stuff. Our school had Princess and the Dragon and some of those early text parser games, and so I didn't play them when they were brand new, but I certainly played them, and it very much informed my fandom and stuff later. And I've just stuck with that genre my whole life. So I really appreciate it when folks have that interest in it and kind of come to that community and realize what a fun genre of gaming it is. And sometimes it's frustrating. Sometimes it's just kind of a zany adventure or whatever. But there's been so much that of folks like us that have kind of found that genre and then grown up in that that are now kind of created like a second renaissance or like a second golden age of adventure gaming. What are your guys' thoughts on sort of that deluge of games that have come out like in the last 10 years even?
That's a Jack question.
Okay, yeah, for sure. So when I was at Adventure Gamers before Adventure Game Hotspot, so we're going back kind of 20 years ago or so, I I started an awards thing, and I sort of counted up all the games, eligible games at the end of the year. And when I started those, there were like 50 adventure games for the entire year. And that's sort of where the genre was at. This year, there will be well over 400. And if I were to extend the criteria a little bit, it could easily be 600, 700. Like, that's where we're at. This is not sort of just a renaissance back to where we were. This is just a whole new explosion of games.
Yeah.
And so, like, I think the adventure genre is uniquely positioned. When it stopped being kind of the industry leader in terms of innovation and budget and sort of the one genre that everybody sort of knew and played, it had to go indie. And so we've developed this thriving indie community of just really passionate game makers and creative designers and stuff like that. So we've had great stuff coming out in recent years. And now the rest of the industry is going, oh, they're going through what Adventure Games did, 20 years ago. They're going, whoa, games are expensive to make and we can't sell enough. So maybe we have to start pivoting to indie gaming too. So in a way, I wouldn't, it hasn't come full circle, but that's kind of how it feels. It's like in a sense, adventure gaming is sort of leading the way again into sort of a more smaller based indie focus.
And I got to say, it was really, really weird. The other day I was looking at a 2025 video list of game ranks, one of the most popular video game websites and YouTube channels out there. And they talked about the Drifter and they called it an adventure game. And they actually quoted our website like on their video. I didn't tell you about that yet, Jack, but
nice. I like
and
it.
They called it an adventure game in the past, or even up to 5 years ago, or heck, probably before this year. When you hear adventure games, they were talking about action adventure games. That was what it was. They would specify point and click adventure, and followed by a question mark. Is it
Yeah.
Now I'm hearing adventure game. Heard it last year too with Locomotive. So as Jack mentioned, indie development is key. People want to support indie devs. It's easy to, not to discredit any indie developers, but its barrier to entry is so much easier to just start doing it as a hobby and eventually doing it as a career. Steam, you could do it with one developer and make an amazing game.
Which brings its own challenges though. There are so many. How do you break through? And that's really hard. And that's something where I think Adventure Game Hotspot is for. We're there to support the developers, and we can't make all of them a success, but the ones that deserve it, we're here to draw attention to. And and if others are noticing and picking up on it, then great. That's perfect. I love hearing that.
No, it's really nice. And I think that community has a lot to do with it, because things got really small for a long time. And then more and more people that grew up with those genres got older and started investigating the tools. And a lot of those people became programmers and technology-minded people. And then we're like, I've got this great story that's been kicking around in my head for 10 years. And I'd love to turn it into like a form of interactive fiction that I could share with other people. And so I think that's why you've got people like Julie Minamata and others that have kind of picked up that mantle, and they played that generation of games kind of, like Colonel's Bequest or something like that. And they're like, I would love to see a new adventure kind of in that vein, and just had that itch and then turned around and created that stuff. So it's nice that there's people that are sort of engaged and have the initiative to do those things, and have great communities like what you guys have built for support and promotion, and just to get some kind of feedback that that people are out there seeing what you're doing and appreciate it.
Thank you. Really, really appreciate that. To also add to what you had just mentioned about especially the narrative gaming, I do believe that adventure game fans are starting to become more allowing themselves to color outside the adventure game lines. In the past, it has to be point and click adventure or it's not an adventure. But now we do see a lot of the adventure game developers, we see some legendary adventure game developers go towards coloring outside those lines. Subsequently, we get different types of adventures being more acceptable and more developed. Narrative, you mentioned they have this story. Well, you don't have to be the most perfect game developer, programmer, everything. You just need to have a good story and maybe need to associate yourself with someone who knows the tools. And like I said, it's becoming a wonderful, wonderful genre. Not that it ever stopped, but it's becoming more accepted once again.
Well, as they famously quoted, it's an adventure game. It didn't die. It just went on vacation in Germany. So
Yeah.
it took a little break, did some traveling, had some Wiener Schnitzel, and then came back to the U.S. Recharged and energized for a new generation of gamers.
Yeah, and different. What Joshua said is true. Like I used to be able to sort of fairly easily go, that's an adventure game, that's not. And I just have a fairly liberal definition of what an adventure game is. Now, like I said,
famously liberal,
getting so clever, so creative that genre lines are blurring to the point where I can barely tell anymore. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know where there's strategy, there's role playing, there's adventure, there's puzzles, there's story, everything. It's so clever and so unique that I go, well, I can't ignore that. That's a really, so it's like the adventure game bubble is just kind of getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's not branching out in different directions so much as becoming sort of a bigger umbrella that sweeps in more things under it. And I love it.
That leads into my next question, which is that sort of how the lines, it's very blurry where things kind of go from being sort of like maybe an action platformer with puzzle elements, but heavy story. So like a Half-Life, where that's a very narrative, or I'm sorry, a very linear sort of story that incorporates some puzzles and world building and interacting with NPCs and things like that to move the narrative along, but then is also a shooter. It's like, so I would look at that and I wouldn't say, oh, Half-Life's an adventure game. No, I mean, it's a very genre redefining sort of thing for first person shooters or something. But I think that we're now at a stage where we have so many things that could be maybe categorized as like interactive fiction titles, things that are like more narrative gaming, versus what were like the traditionally like the true adventure gaming thing. So what elements need to be present in each of those categories to kind of fit these into nice little containers to help people figure out what it is that they really like about this genre as a whole in 30 seconds or less.
No. Are you asking what an adventure game is?
What is an adventure game to you? Because again, I would say something like, and I don't want to taint what you'll say, but it's like interactive fiction title, I would say is something like a Dear Esther, where it's basically you are on a rail and you can only get to one destination, and you're just kind of reading things and it's building this thing, and there might be some light platforming kind of things to kind of move around that environment. Then you have like narrative games where it kind of feels like interactive fiction, but it's like you control the story. So something like the Telltale series, where that you've kind of got to end up in a certain destination, but kind of how you get there is largely up to you as a player. So you can be a jerk or you can be a good guy or whatever. And then you have true adventure titles where you really have like puzzles, that point and click adventure, or I'm sorry, that point and click interface, those type of things. So, I mean, what elements do you really see to make those things fit in those different groups?
we're on record, and if you Google what is an adventure game, like our answer, it will come up. And essentially, I think our common denominators for what we consider an adventure game, the primary denominators, are going to be story, puzzles, and essentially some level of navigation, exploration type of things. Other aspects can be involved in an adventure game as long as they are not primary aspects, or not as long as they're not taking over the entire aspect of the video game. What do you think, Jack?
Yeah, I mean, those are the three pillars, as we put it. And I think a game can get away with being only two of them, and still kind of falling under the umbrella. If you're down to one, then like I don't consider like a straight visual novel to be an adventure game. It is clearly just an interactive story. Yes, you're driving it, but like that's all there is. And so although I say that, and we've still covered a few, like Slay the Princess, which is an amazing visual novel. So, we don't sort of disclude anything either, but yeah, ideally it will have at least two of those three pillars. And to me, the one aspect that kind of is required for an adventure is to not require sort of Twitch-based expertise to solve. That's why I do consider like the action adventures sort of a separate kind of cousin to the genre. Like if somebody can't, if your grandma can't sit down and play it, then it's probably not an adventure game. If there's too much jumping or combat or something like that, then you've tipped over into other genres. And that to me is kind of a key thing, because we want to have a broad definition, but we want there to be sort of some foundation for it too. No, everything can't be an adventure game. So
right.
Yeah,
like Castle Wolfenstein it doesn't have puzzles. It's a fetch quest. Go get key, take key to lock, go to next thing. It's on some like really rudimentary level. It's like one of those things. What's art? Well, I'll know it when I see it.
Right.
Those are definitely under the umbrella. I mean, there's a reason why it's called action adventure. It's the evolution of adventure games. But if we're talking about like more specific old school adventure games, and those are definitely the pillars. I know a lot of our audience, they just want those three or less. Don't want any levels of action or anything like that. And so there's not going to be a correct answer. There really, really is not going to be a correct answer. Actually, there's all going to be wrong answers. Let's just call it what it is. No. Sure. There's a reason why I have a separate YouTube channel for other types of narrative games, because I also don't want to force feed our existing audience with games that they might not necessarily be interested in.
Sure.
So, just have fun playing games.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So I do like that you guys keep a wide tent, an open mind about what constitutes kind of adventure gaming and things like that. But at the same time, you'll be like, whoa, Lara Croft Tomb Raider, you turn around and go right back where you came. I'm joking, but it's but no, I understand.
We love us some Tomb Raider. Let's just say that we talk a lot about those type of games on our podcast.
Yes.
We actually covered the Tomb Raider remakes recently, but like that was clearly like we'll occasionally cover a few that we know aren't adventure games, but we also know that adventure gamers aren't this monolith that all like the same type of game. So occasionally, I love Tomb Raider games, so and I love adventure games, so I want to read about both sometimes. So
we covered Great Circle. Jack did it himself. Jack reviewed the Great Circle. Indiana.
Well, that's right. Yeah, it's all games sort of merged together in my brain.
Right.
I loved it, but I don't consider it an adventure game. That was clearly an action adventure game.
Yes.
Yeah.
Granny Smith is not sitting down and playing Indiana in the Great Circle. So
yeah, well, I don't know,
or maybe she is, and
maybe
I'm bad at that kind of thing.
We'll have to go to the senior center and check. That's for sure.
Exactly.
But
be right there.
Again, we had talked about the website and community building and things like that. But what really motivated both of you to kind of start blogging and writing about adventure games?
Jack's first on that one.
Well, chronologically, certainly. But, it was no sort of grand design. I was hanging out at places. AdventureGamers.com existed, but I wasn't part of it. So I sort of found my way into a group called GameBoomers, was sort of older gamers that had found this love of gaming. And, I felt really comfortable there, and they wanted some reviewers. So I went, well, I'm a writer and I love playing games. So why don't I do that? And, I did that for a little while, and then I kind of twigged to Adventure Gamers as a site and went, oh, like that's sort of a little bit more my speed in a sense. So at some point I switched there, and kind of within the year I was running the joint. So I was still not exactly sure how I got roped into that, but it wasn't by design. It wasn't like I want to move up the ladder and run my own site, or just, I just call it failing upwards. And
well, I think a lot
of adventure game journalism.
Well, based on that, how long can you hold your breath?
Well, we're older now, so 7.5 minutes.
Right. But see, again, when I say like I started running it, remember this was at a time when there were 50 games a year. That's what I thought I was signing up for. If you told me, oh, by the way, 20 years from now it'll be 10 times that much. You still want the job? I'd go, no, thank you.
That was when game reviews came in on CDs.
That's right.
But, not Steam codes or all of that stuff. This is physical stuff being shipped around. Yeah, back in the day. My answer is, well, first and foremost, I'll say unequivocally, I am not a writer in any way, shape, or form. I skipped 3rd grade, and not because I'm smart. I skipped it because we just had far too many people in our class or our school. So
they just wanted them gone.
They want, like, let's just push them up. But so I missed a lot of punctuation and all things writing. But I read a lot of books, so I try to skip by. Jack helps me out a lot. My start, I guess, in a way, I was in conjunction with Adventure Gamers, was through videos. Like, I just made videos for Adventure Gamers, and Jack would just say, hey, this is good, this is bad, go back, fix this, do this. That was his way of editing my videos. But when it comes down to writing, Jack makes me look good. Also, and he makes all of us, even our really, really good authors and writers and journalists who went to school, Jack makes us all look good. All goes through Jack.
Well, I mean, thank you, but I'm not. Don't let me take any of the credit for our fantastic staff. There's just amazing group of people and great writers in their own sake.
We're all creatives, and Jack is as well. Jack kind of lassos us all in.
But it's a real effort, because I want us to be professional. I don't want to be just some fan site. And I think that's why sort of Adventure Gamers during our time there, and now Adventure Game Hotspot, like, people recognize, okay, these guys know their stuff. They do good work. We're going to follow them. And I think sort of the cream rises to the top at some point. There's just so much slop out there, whether it's video or writing or
AI,
often legit AI slop at this point, and not us. We're like 100% human, all too human sometimes, but well, that's important for us.
And I'll speak for Jack here too on that. And this is something that Jack has brought from Adventure Gamers, that not just anybody could come write. He'll give them a trial. If they try hard enough and break the doors down, Jack's willing to at least give it. But he's a real one. He wants professionals. He doesn't want anything that could be deemed as artificial or anything. And you have to be a real writer. And I think our staff is a wonderful, wonderful staff, not just at writing, but just in the genre itself. A lot of our staff are developers themselves. writers, a lot of things, just very, very
or game testers or stuff like that,
right.
like, you know, involved in other ways rather than, you know, just doing the odd review.
And that is one thing I very much appreciate about the website is it does have a diverse viewpoint. It's not just strictly from a I play games sort of thing. You have people with expertise that have been on the other side of that development cycle that can say, you know, based on this, you can tell the effort that went into this, or you could tell this was rushed or whatnot. So
yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. And I'm sure our staff would appreciate that as well.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Josh.
No, I was done. You should actually stop me every so often, just so I don't.
No, it's okay. If you start turning blue and like tip over, then we'll rush to your assistance. But otherwise, I want to hear what you have to say.
Well, I'm a marketing guy. I'm a radio personality. That's where I go. You're gonna have to like yank me back. So
it's come up a time or two, but talking about Adventure Gamers, and there's a little bit of bad stuff with that, but with the new ownership of that site and kind of the change of their mission, it gave a beautiful opportunity for the founding of Adventure Game Hotspot. Do we maybe want to talk for a few minutes about just kind of those early days and kind of rebuilding community over there through your forums?
You talking about at Adventure Gamers or at AJ?
Adventure Game Hotspot. Just talking about like kind of where it's like, hey, we're moving and we're going to do this own thing and it's going to be better this time and we're going to do it our way.
Right. Well, I'll sort of field the beginning of this one. Right. I worked at Adventure Gamers for, I think it was like 18 years. And I was sort of, I didn't own it, but I ran it, sort of day to day, all the day-to-day stuff, all the editing and so on and so forth. So I kind of considered it my site and I sort of built it up a lot over the years. But, you know, I did have to make sort of a certain amount of income from it, not like a ridiculously small amount, but it's just something to supplement the insane number of hours I put into it. So, and eventually that became a sticking point with the owner. He, you know, and, you know, I sympathize with that. Like, you know, online advertising dried up and so on and so forth. So all websites kind of face it. So it was an issue. I understood that. But anyway, yeah, it kind of things ended a little acrimoniously, I guess. And I was just kind of cut loose basically as a cost cutting measure. And sort of with a little bad blood mixed in because I just didn't like the way it happened. But
yeah.
So anyway, so like 18 years of that. And, you know, I was kind of half burnt out and, well, I'm never doing that again. And, you know, so partly going, oh, finally I can spend my time sort of making real money again kind of thing. And partly going, oh, wait a minute. No, I still have something to contribute. This was an abrupt end that I didn't see coming. So, and at some point, like I floated the idea to Joshua, you know, I'm sort of given some idea to maybe starting my own site. And, you know, Joshua's a go-getter. I'm the thinker and he's the go-getter. And sort of before I knew it, he'd kind of put enough wheels in motion to make me think this might like be a real thing. This could happen. This was sort of several months after I'd left Adventure Gamers and already kind of the loss of me, I guess, had sort of impacted the direction of the site. And the writers there, many of whom I'd worked for years, were already starting to see, okay, we don't like what we're seeing. So like, we can't start a new site without a staff. So I had to go to them and say, if we did this, would you be willing to come? And you can made it clear, you can keep working for Adventure Gamers. This is not an exclusive thing. And sort of overwhelmingly, they went, we're in. So it's like, okay, all right. I think this is a thing. And then, so again, kind of Joshua ran with things and sort of in record time, within months, we had like an entire website spun up and sort of off the ground, like 6 months after I left Adventure.
Well,
Gamers.
there's a little more. There's a little more. It shouldn't have been that fast, honestly. So like I had planned to open a website. And then Jack had he made his announcement, his goodbye type of thing. Excuse me. I had the brilliant thought that I can run this website blog style. It would let's just say this, it would never have lasted a month. It would have been worse than Adventure Gamers afterwards. And so like Jack and I were talking after he was like, we were all a little bit shocked. And so, yeah, we started talking about our own website. I put all my eggs in a basket. I gambled and had already started like building the website, just hoping that Jack would, because he kind of said that he was interested. So I started building like, oh crap. And then I didn't hear from him for like a month and a half. And I got super nervous. Month and a half later, like Jack calls and he says, well, yeah, I want to do it. And let's do it like this, this, and this. I would never have even made an inch without like Jack being there. And then the staff was a straight up windfall. And it would have been an absolute joke. And so the fact that Jack knows, like, I've got a lot of things going on, and sure. I'm just so happy that Jack kind of came. Actually, I shouldn't say came along. It was our idea, but for us to do this way, I totally wish that I had waited, though. However, because starting to build the website and the people that I had hired to build the first incarnation of the website, I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea what the fans would want. I had no idea the inner workings of Adventure Gamers or anything. And so essentially Jack had to go in and tell the developers everything that I had told them that was supposed to be was wrong, need to change it. And long story short, then we had Adventure Game Hotspot version 2, which is our real website, which we consider our real website, which the way it should have been straight from the beginning. So that's why it happened so stinking quickly. It should have taken a lot longer and done right the first time, as they say.
Yeah, but we, in a way, we couldn't have waited longer too, because you can't keep your foot out of the industry for very long. I still had all my contacts and I still knew people, and it was kind of important to it was enough of a challenge to start over from scratch, even with many people knowing who I was and who the staff were and knew the situation. So like if we'd let it go another even 6 months or whatever, it would have been so much harder. So yeah, I mean, we started with kind of a rough design based on sort of what we'd come from, and neither of us are website designers. We don't know. We're just going, well, try this. Anyway, I'm really happy with, like, if you look back at screenshots of the early site, it's kind of like, ooh, you did that. But I'm also like,
gotta start somewhere. Yeah,
right, exactly. We built that. It was yes, we had to start somewhere. And I'm proud that we did it. And
yeah. And really, it's hard to do anything, any business, any piece of art, anything without the big picture. A part of building anything is developing. How many games get torn up and started over? Like I said, I didn't know. You think you know things. You think you know a website. You think you know like the drop downs and all of that, until you start actually working and jumping in. Yeah. And that's what makes what I think something special, and what I consider it our baby, a really weird baby that Jack and I.
Yes, a very funky shaped, odd smelling.
Yeah, we raised that thing from the stinky little snot bubbles baby to now just this beautiful free flowing machine.
So, yeah, but funky design aside, sort of from the beginning, we were always, because I was bringing so many of my former staff too.
Yeah,
we were essentially Adventure Gamers 2.0 from the second we started with Adventure Game 2.0 plus. You know, we had the podcast, which I had always wanted to do at Adventure Gamers, never got around to. So Joshua and I, well, let's do that. And, you know, so like it was a chance to, even though we were doing a lot of the same things, to kind of bring different elements. And we invited in sort of the Adventure Game Hotspot network of other video content creators like Adventure Game Geek and Space Quest Historian, Phantom Fellows, or Adventure Classic Gamers Guild podcast. Anyway, sorry, for the people I'm forgetting, but
One Short Eye.
One Short Eye, yes, exactly. So, you know, we brought them into the fold, and because one thing we were really adamant about was to create a sense of community.
Yes.
Like, even though sort of our origin story was kind of all about sort of separation and divisiveness, we wanted to be all about community. You know, bring developers and gamers and other content creators and writers together and stuff like that. And we had always planned to have a forum at some point, but I mean, there's just so many things to think about and do and stuff for a long time. And and of course, someone had a bright idea of having a live convention in our second year of existence. So Joshua, why don't you
yes.
Sorry if I jumped the gun here, but
no,
I know we're gonna get to that anyway.
This was the next thing on the schedule.
There you go.
To talk about it, Adventure Game
this is
Fanfare 2024. And then
yeah, like right from the beginning, from our initial conversations regarding like what we wanted in the website, like Jack and I, we both aligned in the fact that we want to, as Jack mentioned, to have pretty much a say in the adventure game community. We can trust us. We couldn't really trust some of the other sources, I guess. So yeah, we wanted to have the media side. We wanted to have, you know, the written side. We wanted to, you know, dabble in some yada yadas that I don't really want to be able to get too deeply into right now. But ultimately, we want to have all things covered. We want it to be the community, the source, because we can trust us. And so, I mean, it was inevitable. It started out when we went live. Jack and I, we put together a 12-hour marathon thing that oh yeah, stressful, and it went well.
So much fun, but
yeah, it went surprisingly well. Thank you to our engineers and stuff who kind of made it all work for us on the back end. And so the natural phase was to do it live. We hadn't had an adventure game fanfare. We hadn't had an Adventure X or any. There had never been a United States Adventure Game Expo. Call it what you will. And so it just made perfect sense for those in our local North American community. And so, yeah, Jack and I was surprised Jack didn't fall over. Like,
you just didn't see. Yeah,
I'm that kind of guy who I have. I am, as he mentioned, someone that I jump on things, and if I believe that it is beneficial in the long run and financially, all the things that align, then I'll see what we can do. At least do the due diligence to make it happen. And fortunately, we were able to make it happen, despite many hiccups along the way, like with any other venture. But it was an amazing event, a once in a lifetime event, people have said.
Because we were both fortunate and strategic in aligning it with a sort of a Sierra Legend reunion. We knew that a bunch of them had wanted to do that anyway, and we sort of said, well, how can we make both things happen at the same time? So we were able to bring, like, just, you know, a who's who of Sierra to the convention, and just incredible time for people to meet their heroes and stuff like that. And that, you know, obviously just coming together and sort of celebrating the genre was fun enough anyway, but to have that going on too is just wow, okay, that was really a once in a lifetime.
It's really nice to know that we were able to bring the community, the North of it, and people came from all across the world to come to this, but also to orchestrate a Sierra reunion, not just the legends and everything. We had their families and less known behind the scenes. Just everybody was there, and it was magical. Like, I think that's a good word, to use for an adventure game description. It was magical.
I've seen the pictures, and I've there's a few videos, and people have done their sort of like recollections, of the event and things like that. And it seems like it was just an amazing time. I regret missing it, and so I have a lot of hope that the fanfare will continue into the future. I know that 2025 took a year off. Hopefully 2026, you guys have some amazing things planned. Even if it is just, all right, everybody meet at the park, bring a sandwich and a cold drink, and we're gonna sit around and chat. Because just the community building part of it, and people that had only just met and talked through the forum, or had just met and talked through the sort of the podcast community and things like that. It's to hear their stories of being able to get together and actually kind of put faces and names. It just seemed like a really amazing time.
Well, thank you. Yeah. And actually, to move along in that train of thought, we got to go backwards a little bit as to what made the Adventure Game Fanfare so special also, and what could continue to make things more entertaining and special in the future. Was, along with that, it was the inaugural of the adventure game developers and video games, an official Hall of Fame that we created and sanctioned, governs, yada yada, the whole emphasis. And it was a special thing, again, to have people go up and accept their awards. And so it is something that's going forward. You can't just, it's not a one and done type of thing. Yeah. We are, as currently right now, we're in the process of deciding our nominees as to who's actually going to be voted in for the next year. We've gone through the committee process now. Now we're sending out to the media and all of that to see who it is. So subsequently, we need a way to host the next one. We're not ready to announce anything just yet. We could tell you what we'd like to do, but that might be for another conversation. There's definitely something in the works, and we consider it pretty exciting.
Well, I will tell you this, as someone on the outside, I'm not asking for any exclusives. I'm not asking for you to share anything you're not ready to talk about just yet. But I will say this, as somebody on the outside looking in, you guys have built a beautiful community. You guys ran a wonderful event last time. I am just glad that you guys are working on creating something else to tie that community back together and to keep that energy moving forward. Museum and the Hall of Fame and things like that. I think that those are long overdue ideas in the community. I'm so glad that this group of people picked up the torch and decided to run with it.
Wow. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I think you mentioned the forum recently. We'd been planning on opening a forum. This is like an old school discussion board. Yes. And Joshua and I are old school. We came from that. So we know there's Discord and social media and stuff. But again, to me, that feels kind of fractured. So we wanted to have like a place, a hotspot, to just kind of come and hang out and chat with each other. So we opened our forum this year, like fairly recently, and that's off to a fantastic start.
Oh, it's hot, Jack. Pound it, buddy. Boom, it's hot. Go to the forums, go to the message boards, search for that nostalgia. It's good stuff over there, man. Good stuff.
Absolutely. Well, we've talked a little bit about getting started and about the building community through like YouTube and podcasts and forums and things like that. So let's talk about you guys and a little bit of game collecting. Oh, I don't know about you.
The awkward stuff where I could put my foot in my mouth. Let's talk about fun.
Right. Let's talk about fun stuff. So But no, I really do appreciate it. It's that's a good snapshot of kind of where you guys started, where you're at now, accomplishing some big goals. You got some huge tentpole stuff that you've created for the community. Again, as somebody on the outside just looking in, it is greatly appreciated because again, this has been fairly fragmented, and so I have a lot of confidence that you guys have put together a great community that is going to kind of keep things moving forward in a positive way.
Thank you, man.
That's so tough to do. So,
yeah. It is really tough to do.
Yeah.
But that is our goal. And that is exactly like you phrased it perfectly. That is, why we're here. So we're just going to keep struggling however hard we have to make it happen.
Well, it's very appreciated. So, all right, let's talk about some of those amazing games that they could be old, they could be new, it could be whatever it is. But as long as it's something that's an adventure game, if you got a box with you, or I mean, this could be a tell not show, that's just fine. But why don't we go through and share some of our favorite adventure gaming titles?
Titles or titles?
Oh, if you got a box with you, show me your box. That's fine.
So you're saying just things that we like big box games that we collect, or just games that
you want to tell me about some of your big box games? I got a stack right here.
Oh, I see. You're a LucasArts guy over there.
Yes. Well, the problem is I'm at home today. All my Sierra stuff is at work. So I for Sierra stuff, I absolutely have like all the firsts and stuff. So I've got like the first King's Quest, the first Space Quest, the first. I've got all the Larry games, but because it felt like I was getting away with something as a kid. But I've got a lot of those first, and then I've got a lot of stuff that kind of falls outside, like edutainment kind of things. So like Mickey Mouse in Space, and like the oh gosh, what the heck is it called? It's like Mixed Up Mother Goose and some of Roberta's other early games and all that too. So
yeah. Well, I mean, I like how you can casually say that you're, I'm still a Sierra fan. I mean, no proof in the background here. But,
sorry,
I like Sierra. I'm pretty sure we decided what side of the fence you're on over here.
Well, no. It's like Severance. So I come home and I remember my fond LucasArts memories, and then I go to work and I remember all of my fond Sierra memories. I think Ken Williams would tell you that it's like if you were going to have any games on your shelf at work as kind of a work-minded person, he would want Sierra titles on your shelf. Well,
I'll say this is actually I don't have much of my games here. This is actually my actual office. This is my office.
Yeah.
It have some games that I had in the tub for a podcast that Jack and I did with Stu's Game Reviews, who is also a massive adventure game big box collector. And so I had a bunch of those left over in a tub that I never took out of here. So I'll go through a couple of them, and I'll just, not to flex in any way, shape, or form, but I can say that I have almost every adventure game.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is not a brag at all.
It's not, well, okay, that's not my intention. So I'm telling you that I have them. Like my documents are out there, and it's going in the big ones are going in the museum, type of thing. So I say that to tell everybody in the future, when you come to the museum, there's something cool to look out for. But yeah, I've got some really cool things that I have here. Like for instance, let's just talk about, adventure. Microsoft Adventure. There's that. Wizard and the Princess?
Yeah.
Heard of that.
Yeah.
You want other variations? Wizard and the Princess? I mean, we got the Zorks.
Yeah.
What else we got over here? You got one version of Zach.
Oh, yeah.
Not as good. IBM. Oh, I got two IBMs here. And then, I see you have this too. Do you have IBM, or what do you have right there?
Mine is the IBM version.
Oh, IBM. Okay.
Yep.
Well, there you go. There's a few. I got some more like floating around in here, but I was fortunate that I inherited someone who was known to have the largest and most complete adventure game collection in the world, at least known publicly. And so he essentially gave them to me due to the website and all that kind of stuff. Compared to what they're worth, he wanted them to have a good home.
Yeah.
Coupled with I had a pretty massive collection as well. And it's hard to say because there's so many variations, of especially Sierra games.
Oh yeah.
And someone who has obsessive compulsive disorder like myself, and legitimately I am a completionist. And so it's very, very hard to track all of the different things down. And this gentleman was like me, except 40 years older. And he had them. Yeah. My wife and I, we jumped in on a plane, headed on down there, rented a 26-foot U-Haul.
Wow.
They were completely filled to the brim,
wow.
Boxed in boxes. We boxed them all up, and we drove them across the country. And that gentleman, such a cool. I really, really hope he's going to be around when we actually open up the museum, so he can see his collection in beautiful light.
Yeah. And I think that's everybody's goal, is like to one day, to sidetrack the conversation a tiny bit, is that whatever it is that you collect, if it's old computers, if it's comic books, if it's silver stock certificates, I don't know what it is, but if it's like big box games and things like that, that you want to make sure that if you don't have somebody in your family you can kind of give those things to, that you've got somebody, you've at least got a plan for those things, so they don't end up in a dumpster out back.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, there's so many people, especially because of vintage computing stuff, where people don't make a plan, and the family, one of two things happen. They either have people come in and take advantage of them, or they don't know what to do and are so scared to sell anything or to do anything with it, they end up putting it in a storage unit, and then that storage unit eventually gets taken because they stop paying, and then it just all goes in a dumpster.
Well,
or
and
it goes on an auction and somebody strips it out for gold or something. So it's nice to hear that the preservation, so the conservation part of the hobby too is in effect.
His family doesn't know anything about, his hobby. They never understood and all of that. And they would have, no doubt. This is just pieces of cardboard to a lot of people, but in reality, this is hundreds of thousands of dollars, but forget about the monetary aspect. This is what he stood for. This was his life. He got up every single day.
Yeah.
Right. He had purchased every Kickstarter that he said that's ever been done. I'm still getting stuff that has been redirected, sent to me, that he had ordered years and years ago.
Gosh.
He was just such an impressive guy that was supporting, that was his love.
Yeah.
On that. But Jack, you've got some pretty great games as well.
Clearly I should have answered this question first, because thanks for nothing. So yes, I own every valuable game that is ever made. So now you go.
Sorry, Jack.
What am I supposed to do with that? Okay. All right. Okay.
All your games have better history though, too.
Yeah, I am not a serious collector. I'm a collector to have, as opposed to collect, if that makes sense. Like,
sure.
I have sort of rare games that I wanted because I wanted the game, not because, that's probably unique and rare, and I can sell it down the line. So, I've got, and those tended to be like, I didn't need to. First of all, like I already said, I missed the genre's golden age. So I missed all the Sierras and the LucasArts the first time through. So, when I got into them, I just bought like the current version and I played them and I enjoyed them, but I didn't need to follow up. So now the harder to find ones were the ones that I was more interested in, like games like, Big Box Dinotopia and Darkseid 2 and The Adventures of Willie Beamish, like on floppies at the time. So, and I love sort of odd, quirky games. So I've got like Bad Day on the Midway and Chewie Escape from F5. So I don't even know if they're worth anything. I just, yeah, it wasn't bad enough that you totally upstaged me by going first. Now
sorry,
you have
buddy.
to show, oh, you mean one of these 5 copies of Dark Side 2 that I own? Fresh and shrink. No, anyway. So, yeah, so I've got some like interesting sort of rare games, and I couldn't tell you what they're worth. They're probably worth something because they're old and rare, but
I've seen his
know.
list. And
Like-
he has some very, very rare ones and some really, really valuable games.
And yet you
But
never
cool.
quite know the strange alchemy that makes one rare thing really valuable and another one garage sale fodder, you know, like I don't know. Now, the one thing I did because I started gaming with Nintendo was I kept all of my console games. So I've got lots of sort of first and second gen Nintendo games, like the big box Earthbound, which I know is sort of highly coveted,
Yeah,
and stuff
buddy.
like that. So, but not adventure games because first I wasn't playing it. Would you stop it with that?
I love you, Jack, in a weird way.
Well, the feeling is becoming more and more one-sided as we go. No, I'm just kidding. You're right. So there were a few adventure games on console, but I didn't know about them. I was playing Zelda and Mario and Donkey Kong. So those are kind of my games, but I've got lots of sort of rarish and, you know, sort of first couple of generation of PlayStation 2. So like I've got boxes and boxes full of them, and you know, they're probably worth something. Not sell them all and retire to a private island worth something, but you know, I'm sure they'd add up if I collected them. So
Give it
be a semi-private island. I get it. It's you know,
right, yeah, of course.
I mean, you would have to allow people on the beach. You would be able to put up pylons or something. I get it.
Yeah, you're certainly in
small
that
enough for it to be a nude beach, you know.
Not that private, but I don't know. It depends on what they're into. I mean, it's you know, it's whatever you work out is consulting adults, I suppose.
Ron, looks like you've got some good ones back there too, and some cool computers.
I do.
Tell us a little bit about yours, man.
Oh, it's so boring. I collect a little because my whole thing is I'm kind of a Mac guy. So I collect a lot of old Macintosh machines, things that I work in higher ed. So there's a lot of people that have been like, oh yeah, mom and dad are retiring or dad passed away. They work for the school district. What do we do with all these old machines that they had in their classroom? Because, you know, in the 90s and 80s, that was the thing. It was like, oh, here's your new computer. What do we do with the old one? I don't know. Take it home. We don't do inventory tracking. Get out of here. And so a lot of that stuff ended up in people's attics for 30 years. And then they're selling the house, getting rid of things. So there's a lot of stuff that I've added to my collection over the years, just trying to either you ask people, it's like, well, what are you wanting to do? Are you wanting to sell it? Are you wanting to donate it? Or are you wanting to like put it in a museum somewhere? What are you going to do? And I've helped people do everything where it's like, well, we've got final expenses. Let's sell stuff. Okay. I will help you find some buyers, or, you know, hey, we just want to get rid of it. And I'm like, all right, well, I'll find some some forever homes for your stuff. So we'll do that. Or I've connected a few people that have had some rare stuff like Apple Lisas and old Next machines and things like that from like when Steve Jobs left Apple, you know, connected people with like little museums and help them make a donation. So, but that's a lot of what I've got here is just old Macs. And then a couple of years ago, I started getting serious about collecting big box software, and for a while, I was just like, oh yeah, this looks neat. Why not a copy of Microsoft Word for Windows 98? And then you can only collect that stuff for so long, and it just takes up a ton of space. And then you're like, I need to focus. And so I thought, well, you know, I loved playing the Sierra games as a youth, and I loved playing a lot of LucasArts stuff in the 90s, start collecting those things. So I've got a mostly complete collection of LucasArts from like, you know, basically like Ball Blazer, like all the way up kind of through 1999 when they just were like, you know what, the kids love the Star Wars, let's just make everything Star Wars. And
in that voice too.
Yeah, that's exactly. It's, you know, chomping a cigar. Yeah, kids these days. Yeah, but so I do have a few of my more favorite LucasArts games. Of course, this is not the Lust copy. Of course, that's what everybody lusts over. It's funny, but of Maniac Mansion, I've got both the EGA CJ MGA, and then I've like, this is the original or kind of, but then I also have a VJ version of Monkey Island box that just somebody on local marketplace was like, oh yeah, I'm just getting rid of this for like $25. And I was like, hey, just hold it. I'll be buying a couple of minutes. So now it wasn't complete. It was just basically a box and a code wheel, but it was like, but the box looks nice on the shelf. So that's fine. I do like Full Throttle. I think that you were talking earlier about how the budgets on these things got so huge. And this is one of them. This is one of those like $250,000 development cycle games that kind of was just like, yeah, we got to dial back on how much we're spending on these things. And of course, my favorite, and maybe yours, Grim Fandango. Like this game, I just absolutely, I cannot talk enough about it.
Is that your favorite boxed game or game?
It is probably my favorite adventure game. I go back and forth on things, but for kind of a modern era, like where it has more modern sensibilities, like when things kind of change, because Full Throttle for a LucasArts title was sort of like, we've got to get rid of verbs. It's kind of that unified kind of interface. And I think this really cleans that up to the point where it's like, you can get more immersive in your storytelling if you're not thinking about the UI that you're engaging with to play the game. And I think this really does an amazing job of that. But I've stuck with it over the years. I've gone back and recollected some things that I missed maybe the first time around. I would say that, like, in modern history for adventure gaming, like, this is pretty great. Both of these, if you haven't played both, if you haven't played both of these, just stop what you're doing and play both of these, because they're really great. They are absolutely, it's two sides of the same coin in terms of like development team, but absolute love letters to.
Would you consider either of those two games, Return to Monkey Island or Thimbleweed Park, a top 25 adventure game in the last 25 years, the 2000s?
I would say so. I would say that this game right here is easily top, I will say top 5 of I would say, because this game, it checks every little box. And the art style,
really good game,
and the music, and the jokes, and the everything, really great.
Ransom?
I love, Ransom, and this game right here, I just like I think that it shows how people have grown as people, and I got to talk to Dave Grossman, and I was just like, as a dad playing this game, it meant a lot, because this is a game about passing the torch, and it's a game about, and not to ruin the ending or anything like that, but it's largely about life, and how life is largely what you make of it. That you get to decide, you get to put your print on whatever that is, whatever life means to you. And so, yeah, really great. I just finished this one. This is amazing too. This is just a beautiful game in story and art. So I will say,
passing the torch with Return to Monkey Island, and that it was a very, very strong message that Ron and the rest of as you mentioned, Dave, and the rest of the Terrible Toybox team was going for. And that is something that, gosh, we really, really hope that adventure game fathers like yourself are able to do, are able to take a little boy brush, put them on the put them outside at the park on the bench next to you, and talk about, hey, son, this is what I love. This is what Daddy loved when I was your age. Let's play an adventure game together, something that the children would also hopefully have an affinity for. I think it was a wonderful, wonderful attempt at that, and a great comeback for Guybrush, Boybrush, and all of Monkey Island.
And I always love it. It doesn't matter. Dominic Armato could read me the menu. I'm there for it,
and he will.
He's fantastic.
Yes, for the right price, he will. No, absolutely. it's I just love it, and I love the games, especially stuff that again has that connection to the past and makes me think about when I was starting out as a gamer. And I try to get my son interested in those same things too. So anytime something comes up, I'll add it. Like he'll be like, "Hey, there's something new that showed up on my Switch, or there's something that showed up on my PS4," and I was like, "Hey, when you got time, you don't have to do it. You ain't got to play it this week, but if you have time and you're interested, play the first 20 minutes of whatever the game is." And there's been a couple that he's been like, "Yeah, I stuck it out. I didn't make it all the way to the end, but I stuck it out and played it for a little while." And I was like, "It'll be on your account forever. Just go back and play it when you got time."
Well, let me tell you, Ron, ourselves and our staff of Adventure Game Hotspot, we are about to put out something, and by the time this is out, it'll have been released already. It is the top 25 adventure games of the last 25 years.
Pretty nice.
So let us recommend your son take a look at those, look through the list. They're modern enough to where it's not going to be, oh, what's a pixel? You know what I mean? Although there is some that are trying to go back to that and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Have him look through the list and let us know if there's any that actually catches his eye.
I will absolutely do that.
And I'll say, like, have a look for yourself too, because I guarantee you there's going to be some games on it that you haven't played. I bet. You know.
Oh, it's very possible. I just played Broken Age. This game came out like 14 years ago or something. So I just it takes me a bit to catch up sometimes. So
all of us.
Yeah. Well, we've covered a lot of ground here. I know you guys have busy things that you're doing today, so I won't hold you too much more, but I got one final question, and this is just a fun one. If you could go back in time and change one crushing puzzle or piece of moon logic in an adventure game of any era, what would it be?
Do you need time, Jack? Because I got one.
Time won't help me. I have a notoriously bad memory for details, so I remember getting stuck a lot, but I don't remember specific puzzles. So
there are some puzzles that are forever hated that I don't think are terrible. You know, the goat puzzle and Broken Sword. I get how they kind of changed the gameplay aspect. That's not terrible to me. The cat's hair mustache in Gabriel Knight 3. Also, it's an adventure game. We've been programmed to have some ridiculous puzzles.
You know, that one was really,
it was ridiculous. However, what I despise is the dead ends in the early, and gosh, even some of the later Sierra games. Pretty sure some of them were an actual game design to artificially lengthen the game. Roberta said as much on one of our interviews, but we won't go too deep into that. It was a different time than back then when the games needed to last.
Nintendo hard, as they would call it in some communities. Yeah,
save your game a lot, folks, because there was one particular puzzle in King's Quest V that I don't think gets enough hate. And by hate, I mean I freaking hate this scenario. And I'm not talking about the Yeti and the custard pie. That's ridiculous. But towards the beginning of the game, there is a scenario to where a rat starts running across the screen, and you get some cute, you know, the little.
Oh, I've got it. I wrote down very quickly what I thought you were going to say. Go ahead.
Okay. So.
Boot rat.
Yes. So you are familiar.
Yes.
Throw the boot at the rat. You have to do it in a very, very short time frame. If you don't realize what has to be done at that whole time, if you don't pull the correct amount of inventory in less than 3 seconds, hit this rat, then or hit the cat or something that's chasing the rat.
Yes.
The game's done. And this is early in the game. You will be stuck and you will not know it. And it's an impossible scenario.
Yeah. You get kidnapped later in the game and you're tied up with ropes and you need the rat to chew through the ropes. Yeah. So
You need to save that rat.
mhm.
But the likelihood of someone within 3 seconds going into your inventory, scrolling through at that point, probably 20 items, realizing, okay, I have to now throw at this cat in this period of time. That's frustrating, and it's just wrong. It's frustrating and wrong, and made what it was an otherwise pretty decent, good game for its era into what many consider a bad game for those reasons. Dead ends.
Dead ends are good. I would personally change the entirety of the Simon the Sorcerer series. Those games are the most moon logic-y, weird Britishism games of all time. They've got their audience. German people love them so much so that they got 2 exclusive sequels that no one else got. But I remember playing Simon the Sorcerer 2. There's so much moon logic in that game that it's just like I put the whole series down with that. So
yeah, I would put Discworld ahead of the Simon game. The first Discworld is just absolutely bananas. I can't remember the specific puzzles, but it just completely out of left field. Everything was just insanity.
Yeah, man. I mean, to a certain extent, you can kind of give it a little bit of leash because it's a fantasy game. It's implied that there's going to be some ridiculousness. It's like watching The Matrix, and if you're going to be mad at it, you're going to be mad. Oh, this guy can all of a sudden do kung fu. That's stupid. That can't happen. Well, there's a reason why you can't. But still, it doesn't make it fair.
Right.
Like if they're so beyond logic to a point to where the game is no longer fair, then it takes away from the fun aspect. Then you're just combining and hoping.
Yes.
Definitely agree with Jack about Discworld as well.
Yeah.
That's whew.
Well, be sure to eat those peanuts, because if you don't, you will die later in the game. That was the Infocom where it's like you've got to have the salt, so you have to listen to Ford, or otherwise, as a kid who had not read Hitchhiker's Guide or seen the BBC series, because I wasn't at home on PBS that day to watch it, that I'm
You're
just
not
like,
in the know at that point.
Yeah, I just wasn't in the know. So much later in the game, you just die. Thanks for nothing, Infocom. I mean, but a very Douglas Adams way to deal with things, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So,
do you think some of those were an overt attempt to collect on hint line calls?
there was a lot of money to be made.
A lot of money. More money there than in the game development, according to Al Lowe.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I would like with the Sierra BBS and with all of the hint lines and how slow people talked. So, yeah, you can tell this is by the minute. That's for sure.
Did your mom agree to this? No. Okay, great. Let's continue.
Yeah, exactly. Is there an adult in the house? Yes. Good enough. Let's go.
Fantastic.
So, Tobias, did you make a $400 collect quote? Yeah, it was an emergency. Yeah, but anyway.
Hey, what's your sanity worth? Come on.
Exactly. It's some of that stuff so hard, especially as a kid with like not a lot of life experience. But it was nice. You could go to work, you could talk to people, you could ask, or you could go to school rather. In those days, talk to people and see who else had played through it. I that's how I found out about the single pixel that you have to pick up in Space Quest 1, where you had to get the little piece of glass to reflect the laser and all.
I thought you were say Gabriel Knight one had one.
It's every Sierra game.
Yeah.
Every Sierra.
Yeah,
but that's interesting. You mentioned talking to friends, because as you guys are talking about this, and again, I didn't live through this era as a gamer, so I kind of came sort of post Full Throttle, where the genre had kind of moved on. So I listen to you going, how did the genre survive? These are horrible. But you all seem to have this sort of nostalgic attachment to it. And I think that's kind of sense of community might be part of it. Like it was a shared experience.
It's called shared trauma.
Right.
So it brings people together.
Would be for me, that's for sure.
But I mean, people didn't really. There weren't high expectations. You didn't really, especially with like those early Sierra games. where it was just basically you were just wowed the fact that there was like some digitized audio and that there were graphics that you could see immediate feedback on things. So you were very, very forgiving. And like Joshua said, it's these games were $30, $40 in 1990s money. So they had to last. You could not go to mom and dad and be like, well, I beat it in 30 minutes, because they'd be furious. You would never get anything else. So
well, let's face it too, all the old games looking back, they're poop. They're crap. You know, Doom 1, gosh, for this time, amazing. You know what I mean? But really, that's a crap game. You know, designed how they could with the limitations that they could. And looking back, that's what we had back then.
I mean, it absolutely murdered the adventure gaming genre, but you know, the first person shooter, you know, kind of
innovation's always going to hurt something and build something else. But it also, you know, the fact that we did have those struggles with those early adventure games, like you mentioned, it really, really built friendships. It built my friendships. Like the only way we were able to get through King's Quest V, which is our first game that like I fully beat, was with me and my friends mapping out the desert and then talking about it, like you mentioned, at school, and then playing after school, and each of us together figuring it out over the course of years. And when you do that, and like you always have this dopamine hit when you solve a puzzle, but when you collectively as a team or as a friend or as anything together, you have created a bond. You've gotten through an obstacle together. And that's what we're always facing. We're always searching for that that nostalgia, that the past where things were easy. The obstacles seemed hard at the time, but in retrospect, man, gosh, I wish those obstacles were a gaming puzzle.
I remember there's a Far Side cartoon where Jane and Tarzan go back to the jungle, and he's standing there, and he's basically just like, gosh, these trees seem so much taller back then, you know. And so I think we grow, and we kind of, you know, but thankfully our tastes have kind of stayed the same in some of these things. So, and it's built some amazing community, as you guys have mentioned. So, well, Jack, Joshua, why don't we take a minute? Why don't you tell everybody where people can find you online?
Jack's gonna be like, Josh, tell him.
No, yeah, absolutely. I don't know. I'm always on adventuregamehotspot.com. I don't know anything else. So that is my world.
adventuregamehotspot.com. And then of course, pretty much every social media. We do focus mostly on like Blue Sky, Twitter and Facebook, but we're on everywhere. Also, we have YouTube videos. We have Adventure Game. There it is on YouTube.
It's also quite a large font, but I think people will figure it out.
Yeah, I saw it. We have a trailers YouTube channel, which I didn't realize just how busy that thing was. Holy crap, Jack, by the way, 1,900 some odd things on there. Whew.
There's a lot of games.
My God, buddy. And then, of course, we have the podcast. Boom. There you go.
You're doing an amazing job teeing me up on all these things.
Well, this last one's going to hurt you, though. We also have a narrative. That's more my baby, where I can kind of be silly and maybe say poop every so often, you know, and not scare people away from AdventureGameHotspot.com. More outside of the box adventure games. We'll say that, and that is Weird Gaming Adventure. Going back to the olden days for that one, my original YouTube channel. And so,
great.
That is that. Jack's working on a game right now.
Jack, you're working on a game.
Yes. Yeah, I'm working on a game called A Rum Case in Fogtown, which is like a really fun riff on Sherlock Holmes, but made entirely with finger puppets. Like we're talking beautifully crafted puppets, not sock over hand type puppets. So like the
I'm here for either.
What's that?
I'm here for either.
Yeah, I mean I like the socks too, but you know, if you're gonna look at one for hours at a time, you know, you As everyone who sees Fogtown falls in love with it. It's on Steam, so I encourage people to check it out. And it's sort of a choice. It's more kind of visual novel-ish than sort of a pure adventure game. Oh, look at that already! Wow, you are good. Yeah, but so it's choice driven, it's comedy, it's mystery, it's just a whole lot of fun. And it's taking a long time to write and make, so I'm not sure about this year, but it's getting there. We're getting there.
Well, I encourage everyone to add it to your wish list. Wish list it now.
Thank you.
So, well,
and hopefully
Ron,
they
we
could
really
see
appreciate
the
you,
trailer
man.
and want to, like,
We love talking games, Ron, and I'll speak for Jack here and say we appreciate you reaching out to us and being able to talk about just games in general, man. And we like what you do as well.
Oh, well, thank you.
I watch your videos.
Oh, well, that's really good because I need the watch hours.
Okay, there you go. Everybody like and subscribe this channel right now.
This
Hit the bell. Bing.
Right. Do all the things. Do all the things.
All the things.
He didn't even have to beg you. I begged you all for him. So there you go.
Thank you so much.